All right, everybody, welcome back here. And as you guys can see here, today we're putting on 28. It's a very hot 90 degrees here in southeastern Indiana, and so it's a great day to put on some nitrogen on the corn today. And nitrogen is kind of like a steroid or steak dinner for the corn. It's going to boost that plant growth, it's going to make it grow fast, and it's going to allow us to get a big ear once we go to harvest later this summer. Right now we're putting on liquid nitrogen. You know, it's got 28% nitrogen in it, so that's kind of what we're doing here today. And as you guys saw there, what I did is I put in 1.25 gallons or 1.5 gallons every row. I went back to the tank and filled it up, and then I came back out here and I went down each row very slowly and filled up and laid that stream all the way across the row. Kind of a slow process, it's kind of monotonous, but you know, everything worked out and we got it done. You know, this stuff's good now. It's got you know, the 3 primary nutrients, macronutrients and micronutrients, and the primary you know, macronutrients for crops in general are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And when we put that fertilizer on in the spring before we planted, we put on our phosphorus and our potassium. We had a little bit of nitrogen, but not a lot. And so now what we're doing is we're putting on all of our bulk nitrogen, so that way, again, you know, we're getting that yield that I want. You know, if you didn't put nitrogen on corn, guys, you wouldn't get anything off the ear. You know, you just wouldn't have anything. So this is a very important process in growing sweet corn. It's getting that nitrogen put on it and getting it on there at the time that it needs it. As you can see here, some of these plants have some yellow on the bottoms of them, and the reason that is because they have a deficiency of nitrogen. And so yeah, so let's give this a few days. Let's let that nitrogen absorb and let's see what happens. I guess I'll just sit here and admire this good looking corn. And so as I'm sitting here, you know, waiting for this corn to grow, all of a sudden these weeds start like attacking me, and I didn't know what to do. So I woke up and just been pondering, and I figured out my game plan. All right, so today we're going to be taking care of the weeds here in the field. Down the rows here you can see there's a lot of grass, a lot of just small weeds in here. And you know, you may wonder, what's the problem with weeds? Why can't we just let those weeds grow out? And you know, just why do we have to take care of them? And there's a few reasons. One reason being, weeds take nutrients and take water from the plant, and we can't have that, right? We put on fertilizer here not too long ago, just a few scenes back, right? But we now got to take care of this because we can't let those nutrients be lost from an uptake from weeds. And what does that kind of cause? And you know, in long term, it decreases yield, and when you decrease yield, you lose money. And so that's the whole reason why we're spraying these. It's going to protect the crop as well. It's going to keep it more healthy. Now, present day, we use herbicides to take care of weeds. In past, you know, many moons ago, they used to use, you know, a cultivator, and they'd drive down the rows and it'd like chop up the weeds and basically prevent the weeds. And you know, it just, what happens is when you do that, you're tilling that soil up a lot, and it dries out the soil, so then you lose a lot of your moisture. And if you don't know, moisture is important when it comes to growing plants. So today we're going to be using a herbicide. Now, many people may think, well, oh my gosh, using a herbicide on, you know, something that we consume. You know, herbicides are used on, you know, many different crops. You know, that's just regular field corn, soybeans, you know, wheats, you know, all kinds of the different cereal crops, you know, a lot of our legumes, you know, all these different crops that we've got that are genetically modified to be capable of using a herbicide with them. And so that's what we're doing here today. We're going to be using a product. It's just, you know, glyphosate, which is also known as Roundup. So we're going to be using a Roundup on this corn. This is Roundup Ready corn. So here is my operation here. We've got a 10-foot boom on this 4-wheeler sprayer here. They are 6 nozzles. They are nozzles that will make a flat fan basically across the field. It'll, you know, make a broadcast. It's all hooked up here. Obviously we'll put the product in this top part right here. We've got the wiring set up here, and I've got my control right here to turn on and off the boom. And so that's where all that comes in handy. So how this works, we put our product in here, and then once we get the product in here, we'll kind of mix it up a little bit. And then this hose right here drops down into this tank, and this pump will suck it out of here, and it'll pump, go through the pump, and then it'll come through here. And once it comes through here, then it'll come around out here through this hose. It comes around here back to the boom, and then it comes out through all of these nozzles. And this is adjustable, so this is the high as the boom will go. We can drop that down or whatever. So that's the boom itself and how the sprayer works and all that. So I'm gonna make a 10-gallon mixture. So I'm gonna get my water ready to go here. So I've got 2 jugs. These are 2.5 gallon. These are just empty jugs. And so I'm gonna put 5 gallon in first, and then I'll put my herbicide in there, and then I'll put 5 more gallon, and that'll give us 10 gallon. And you're like, well, Justin, it means you're putting like no herbicide in. And that's true. So Roundup calls for about 2 to 3 ounces of the actual, you know, chemical per gallon of water. So if we're making a 10-gallon mixture, we're only putting in about, you know, 20 to 30 ounces of Roundup. So we're really not putting that much, you know, herbicide into our mixture here. Just kind of something I think a lot of people don't understand is, you know, in terms of using herbicides and chemicals, you put in a super little amount into a huge mixture of water, and it ends up getting, you know, misted onto the field. Here goes the first 2.5 gallon of water here. Here goes the second. I've got about 25 ounces here, so that's about 2.5 ounces per gallon, so about right in between where we want to be. So this is all of the chemical that we'll put into this mixture. So I'll go ahead and pour this in here, and here comes our last 5 gallon. This is the first half of it, and the last 2.5 gallon. That's all it takes, you know. It took maybe 10 minutes, so everything's all good. Hey there, welcome back. We've you know, had this sweet corn patch here sprayed for about a week now, and you can see, we can start to see the weeds are starting to die. They're starting to turn yellowish brown across here. If you really kind of look from a distance, You can see down there, it seems like they're a little bit better. But that's it's great, right? It's great news because now we know that the corn is not getting nutrients stolen from it with the weeds. In terms of the corn itself, it looks pretty good. There's a few spots, they're a little bit kind of rough down in this corner, but like just as you look across here, it's pretty good. It looks pretty good. So I think now it's just kind of a waiting game just to let it grow and start to tassel. But today's project is more spraying. I just want you guys to kind of get a perspective of what we're looking at here. There's so many weeds in this that it's covering up the dirt in between the rows, right? As we look each way. So I'm gonna spray that today. We're gonna spray this patch here today. We're basically gonna spray this gap in here, and the reason why there's a big gap between the two corn patches and over here between the corn and then the bean field out here is we want to have gaps to run, you know, gators or side-by-sides down along the edges here, so when we go to pick it, we can throw the corn into the bed, the side-by-side. You can see here we've got two corn plants and a corn plant, and this is a sunflower plant a week after being sprayed. This just goes to show you when you don't have a Roundup Ready crop, what it can do to the crop. It'll kill it. Today what we're going to do is we're going to put on nitrogen on this stuff here. The second batch kind of looks pretty rough right through here. These 3 rows from about right here to up there look pretty rough, but the rest of the corn looks really, really good here. Alright, so we just got done loading up the sprayer here. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply it. Okay, everybody, we're back yet again here today, and it's currently July 18th. So we are getting closer and closer to that harvest season here for sweet corn. And so today I just kind of want to give probably the last crop update, and kind of getting down on some of the last actions that we'll do before we harvest the corn here. So first off, with the first batch was looking really good. About a week ago or so, we had a little bit kind of get blown down from some of the hurricane winds that we got from the hurricane that came out of Texas. And so really weird winds. And so there was a little section, you know, about right in just like a 60-foot length, a hole where we think that the wind went up and hit the barn and then curled back around, and it all was leaning this way. And you can see that all these look pretty straight, but then you get down here and these stalks start to kind of have an elbow to them, especially right here. And so what that means, and it continues here as we go down, but what that means is the corn got knocked over, and then a couple days later it picked itself back up and it's straight, but it has that elbow on the bottom of the plant. But this stuff is kind of in that reproductive stage right now, and we are getting some ears starting to develop here on the corn. So hopefully here in a couple weeks we'll be harvesting sweet corn on this side. You know, this is going to be kind of the end here of our side dressing and, you know, applying herbicide and things like that. But you may wonder why we got this out again here today. And today I want to put on just a little bit more nitrogen on, especially the second batch here. You know, right when this stuff starts to tassel, you know, it's always maybe good right before it tassels to put on just a little bit of nitrogen. It kind of helps with, you know, the developing that ear and, you know, kind of the taste. But I'm gonna put on some 28 here, and I'm gonna fly the drone up for you guys, and you guys can get a nice look at what corn looks like, you know, and when it gets up real tall. And just something about corn, you know, just it looks awesome.